Coming up on Marketplace Middle East, we get exclusive access inside the largest nuclear construction site in the world as the United Arab Emirates looks to a new source of power.
Nuclear industry, it is safe, clean and reliable, and it's been operating for decades.
Dubai is one of the fastest growing cities in the world. With one of the harshest climates, it requires an abundance of energy. From powering offices and homes to providing vast amounts of air conditioning to fueling desalination plants that provide clean water, its electricity demands are enormous. As a result, the United Arab Emirates is looking for new sources of energy in a post-oil economy, and that's why it's embraced nuclear power. This is the $20 billion Barakah nuclear energy plant, which has been under construction since 2012. With 4 reactors, it has been one of the UAE's largest construction projects, employing 22,000 workers at its peak.
We have more than 1.4 million cubic yard of concrete that was building these plants, with more than 250,000 tons of reinforced rebar, as well 1,500 kilometers of cables. So that's a massive amount of work.
The Barakah plant is located 280 kilometers west of Abu Dhabi and more than 50 kilometers from the Saudi border. Testing has begun on the first reactor, and it's awaiting regulatory approval. Once up and running, this operation will cut the country's carbon emissions by 21 million tons a year. An environmental benefit, of course, but there are economic ones as well.
Now we have more than 1,400 UAE local companies that participated in this project. The development in the UAE is growing and the power demand is growing. So this site with the 4 units will contribute to 25% of the UAE energy supply by 2020.
Not only supplying a quarter of the country's electricity, it will employ more than 2,000 people, 60% of which will be Emiratis. The man leading the project is the CEO of the state-run Emirates Nuclear Energy Corporation, Mohammed Al-Hamadi.
Very simply that the steam gets generated in the building, behind this wall, which is the reactor, and the steam comes in this turbine in the 3 stages, and it simply rotates the generator that makes electricity. That's as simple as that.
But the UAE is not alone in its peaceful nuclear power ambitions. While most of the focus has been on Iran, Saudi Arabia plans to construct 16 power reactors over the next quarter century. Jordan and Egypt, 2 oil importers, also want to construct nuclear power plants.
Well, I think for Egypt and Jordan in particular, I'm more skeptical. The programs are not very advanced. Saudi is probably more realistic. Obviously, they have larger financial resources and the program is a bit more advanced. So that's probably one of the more realistic ones.
And in an area gripped by regional and economic crises, what are the assurances that this plant will only be used for civilian purposes?
It is illegal to enrich or reprocess any uranium here in the country. It is completely illegal. And that's been enforced by a regulator, a fully competent regulator, to enforce that. And the technology been selected in the UAE, also it's a civilian technology. So all of these, I would say defense in depth, been established in the country.
Fukushima is still very much in the minds of the average citizen around the world. Germany's phase out of nuclear energy. What did you learn from that experience, or the argument for safety in this new generation of technology here?
Nuclear industry demands a very high standard of nuclear safety and security. The Fukushima plant was built 40 years ago plus, and today what we have here in Barakah in the UAE is the highest from nuclear safety, security, quality. So it's a very advanced plant.
You sit on about 7% of the proven oil reserves. Do you really need to have nuclear energy as part of the mix?
The nuclear power plants are built with the long term. I mentioned the sources of energy, or the basket of sources of energy, has to be clean, reliable, and secure. Nuclear energy provides a third dimension, fourth dimension to that energy basket. To have renewable, nuclear, and oil and gas, it is the best mix of energies. Even in the future, if prices goes up and down, that resiliency of that basket, it gives you a long-term optionality between picking different options. But nuclear industry, it is safe, clean, and reliable, and it's been operating for decades, and people are benefiting it, countries are benefiting it for a long time.